Thank you for tuning in to Koppen Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're with comic Danny Lang. Danny Lang, how the hell are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Yes, you
Currently,
are soldiering on with COVID. What kind of a hero are you to come on my podcast while you're suffering from this deadly
yeah,
disease?
I'm just serving this great country, doing what I can.
Yes, serving.
Yeah.
I fucking love. I'm serving realness. What was that? Serving Ally McBeal realness. Oh, it was a recent Larry David sketch on SNL. But okay, so Danny Lang. I follow Danny Lang everywhere. I am Danny Lang on Instagram and Twitter. And on Twitter, a tall, tan, beautiful bag of bones. Are you a tall motherfucker?
I'm 5'11".
Okay, that's tall.
But
That's tall for me, man. I'm looking
yeah,
up at you, man.
how tall are you?
Oh, I don't know, 5'7", 5'8", 5'7", 5'8". But yeah, it's a tall, beautiful, and it says a tall, tan, beautiful bag of bones. Are you typically tan, Danny Lang?
No, very pale. But it is what it is. We're fine.
Yeah, it's comedy. On Instagram, it says I'm a comedian, but I just want you to think I'm pretty. Is that true? Would you rather me
Yeah.
think you're? I mean, I think somebody said that. What was it? Costanza on Seinfeld. He said something like, I'm rather she rejected me and thought I was good looking than because he had that girlfriend who was really into him even though she doesn't care about looks. He's like, I'd rather she say I'm good looking and not date me. And so like, would you rather like somebody not laugh at your act but just be staring at how beautiful you are, or would you like them laughing during your act?
Laughing during my act but think I'm ugly.
Well, maybe not necessarily, but they're not lusting after you, meaning if they're so distracted with their lust for you, they're not laughing. But they also would not laugh at you because they don't have no sense of humor. Or would you rather them laugh?
That's a tough question. I'm not entirely sure. Like I do improv with my friend Finn, and like we have like said, oh, if we're not being the funny one on stage, we're being the hot one.
Oh.
And I find myself being the hot one more than often, or at least that's what I tell myself.
Because you're not getting the laughs you want. You can
Yeah,
also be fun, just not funny and ugly too. But I love that there's only two options for you and Finn.
yeah.
Just
There's
come for
only two
yourself. Yeah,
options.
nobody's laughing at you because they're so distracted by your hotness.
Exactly. My beauty is off-putting.
It is off-putting. The minute I saw you, I was like, man, I could talk to this person, but I
Yeah.
don't know. His beauty is off-putting. I don't like it very much. And so, yeah, what kind of shows are you doing around Chicago right now? Like, what do you got coming up?
So I have coming up, I'm going to like a queer comedy festival in Columbus, which will be fun.
Really? Now that's the queer mecca I hear. Ohio,
Uh,
Columbus, Ohio.
that's what I'm hearing as well, turns out.
Don't be surprised when it's just the queer mecca. I love that. What if it lets you
Yeah.
down? Because you are Chicago, right? And so I would think that, like,
Yes.
I used to live at Belmont and Broadway, and
Oh,
I used to
cool.
think that Chicago was kind of a queer mecca, right? But Columbus, I mean, so you're used to really queering it up. The people on Belmont Broadway queering it up. And so, like,
Hmm.
what if Columbus, Ohio, is not all that it's cracked up to be as a queer mecca?
Then I guess I gotta do my part and make it that way.
And so, how do you queer things up? That's what I want to know. Like in Columbus, if you're like, this is not as queer as I'd hoped, what do you do, Danny Lang, to make sure that this place is queer by the time you leave?
Oh my gosh.
And it might not even be sexual at all.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw like glitter bombs. Really become like a domestic terrorist, and because glitter is awful, turns out.
Okay.
It does not get out of clothes or your body easily.
So you could show up to work weeks later and there could be glitter somewhere, even if you're washing regularly.
Yes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
That sucks. For
Yeah.
somebody who doesn't want to wash a pair of jeans every fucking day, that would be my nightmare.
Yeah, so I steer clear of glitter. I'm gonna be nice and not do that to Columbus, Ohio.
But then there's no other alternative other than glitter bombs. Like, what is a way to queer things up?
Um,
I'm putting you on the spot here. This was not one of your topics.
I know. Oh my gosh, I have to solve all of homophobia in Columbus, Ohio, right here and now.
There's a
Um,
way to do it, right? Like, there's a way to like go around and talk to people in a way that steers conversations towards, becoming more a queer-friendly city or business.
Probably. I
Starbucks, like a Starbucks, you chat up the barista and what do you say? Like, this place is not queer enough, and that's a problem because.
Wow.
Hard hitting questions, man. You were
Yeah,
not ready
wow.
for this shit.
I was not anticipating for and in my COVID riddled state.
Yes. Oh no, I'm putting you on the spot during your COVID riddle haze. Well, we'll come back to that because I really think by
Okay,
the end
yeah.
of the episode
Oh,
we'll come together on that. Because the one topic that I want to talk about, usually I have the comedian supply topics, and I pick one that I like, and immediately I read it as the four horsemen of the apocalypse yoga, which I assumed was your comedy show, but they were two different things. Now tell me about the
yeah.
four horsemen of the apocalypse. I was like, do you mean the Bible, or is there like a new thing? And you're like, nah, man, I'm a friend of the Bible.
Un- Unfortunately, I do have an obsession with the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and I don't
Okay.
know why. They're in like a lot of media and stuff, but they are in the Bible too. And I guess their role is to just like show up and destroy the planet.
Yeah.
Their names are war, death, famine, and conquest.
And the person
Um,
upon him, the person upon one of the horses' names was what? Like, I think that was the cool part of it. Like, when I've seen it, it's always like they phrase it in this beautiful way, four horsemen
oh,
of the apocalypse. There's a guy in West Wing, and that guy's a famous soap actor, and he fucking killed the shit out of it, man. But yeah, the
ooh,
Bible verse was so beautiful. So meaning like, oh,
lovely.
upon him rode death, upon him rode something, and death followed with him, or something. It was the fucking most beautiful thing. And so, what, like, how did that, out of all the Bible, which you've read 85 times, like,
Yeah,
what
I'm
did that? Yeah, how did that verse stick out as something that you dug?
big Bible guy. I don't know. I think it's like what drew me to them was other like depictions of them. Like
Yeah.
they're in a video game called like Darksiders.
Oh,
I think. Although, and I also like that in like different depictions of them, like they swap out certain ones.
oh,
Like in that video game, they are, instead of conquest and famine, it's like fury and strife, which does bug me because fury and strife are synonyms. uh I feel like they could have gotten more creative, but that's their business.
I feel like I'm talking to Mike Kaplan, man. Words piss you off. You're like, motherfucker, that's a synonym.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some of this
It's
is
a,
just like the depiction, and so like if you could just swap them out,
mm-hmm.
we could queer up Columbus by adopting four things. And so, like, what are, to put you on the spot again, your COVID riddled haze. If you had to talk
Yes.
about like four words that we could name the horses that would make Columbus super queer, like what is kind of the essence of the queer experience?
Oh my goodness.
And not to say you're
um
queer, like you're going to a queer. I'm assuming you're presuming too much.
yeah, how dare you out me like that.
I was like, everybody who goes to the queer festival is of course queer, right?
Yeah, I would imagine and hope so. Oh my gosh, what is all right, well, one of them would have to be poppers, I think. Um that is just I such a such a wild fun experience that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
So popper is just an inhalant, right? Like, is it a
I
short? Is it a short ass high, like a whippet or something, or
I think so.
no? Okay,
Yeah, it's pretty short. It gives you like a like brief head rush,
okay.
and
Is it even
apparent.
worth it? I know it
Well,
loosens the
apparent.
sphincter, but other than that, is it worth it at all? Like, how do
I
you even buy these fucking things? Like, do you go buy like a glue, or is it glue sniffing? Or are you going to buy
That's the
a
thing.
pot
I
of
have
glue?
no idea where my friends have purchased poppers.
They just seem to have them at all times.
Yeah, and I've never used them in a sexual experience. We've only just been hitting them like for fun, like on the couch, just like passing them around
Yeah, I did whip it in the car once, and that was quite the experience. I
in
was
the
like,
car.
yeah, I was just like, well, I mean, we were sitting in a parking lot, but
Okay.
but you're like, oh yeah, that was fun. Oh, it's over. Fuck. I
Uh,
really would love to have that back. It's like we have to go
yeah.
buy a new creative whipped cream.
Yeah. I did a whip it once alone in my apartment, and then I tried standing and I nearly fell. And that was, so I was like, oh, maybe that's not the best idea.
But I just love you were so party. It's like we ended up doing it in just like an empty house all alone.
Yeah.
Me almost me falling on my couch. And so number one would be Popper. Poppers. Yeah, it'd be Poppers. Yeah, Popper's the horse. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so what would another one be?
Okay, these are the queer horsemen of the apocalypse
Yes,
coming
in
to Columbus,
Columbus. This is where you're gonna
Ohio.
go with Columbus if it's not as queer as we thought.
Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh, I feel so much responsibility for my community in this exact moment.
But it can also be kind of bad. Like, is there anything about the queer experience where you feel, different or excluded? Like, meaning
Oh my
for a
God,
while
yeah.
there, yeah. So we can call a horse that. What exclusion? There was that one. There was that one Christmas Carol where that guy he had two children under his robe. He goes, "Look here, Ebenezer Scrooge, under my robe. Their names are Ignorance and Want." And I swear these children were so adorable. I mean, but they looked like they were just like street urchins. They looked pale, emaciated, but it looked like a next door neighbor of ours. He goes, "Their
Oh
names
my
are
God.
Ignorance and Want." And so like that's we can call it a horse exclusion if we want, or
Oh my God, yeah.
different or
Um, yeah, I would say, oh my God, not to be so corny, but like resilience would be
hmm.
one of them.
Oh, that's a positive one. I like
Yeah.
that. And,
Oh my
like I
God,
would think the
now,
horse like that's kind of befitting a horse too, because they're very kind of strong and resilient and they're full of energy. And I would think to be
mhm,
resilient, you at least need energy.
yeah. Um, for sure. I do just I do want to clarify the horsemen are like men who ride horses, not the actual
All
horses.
right, no, I don't know. I don't know. So check this out. So I'm looking at the thing. So you think the horse? Okay, so it goes like this. Well, you're right. It says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed with him. So you're saying just there's four dudes on horses, and they're each given a name. The horses aren't given shit.
Oh, the horses are given
No,
names.
no.
I don't
Wait.
know the horses' names.
Oh, but you see, you just don't. But you just think it's the horsemen. You're right, because it's four horsemen of the apocalypse. You're right, and I think part of this is I saw in Dexter. Have you ever seen Dexter or no?
I have not. Is that the one about the serial killer who
Yeah.
serial kills serial killers?
Yes, and so there was one killer who kind of did this four horsemen of the apocalypse murder where he sewed
Oh.
he had horses actually marching down the street, and on it was marionettes stapled together with real body parts. And so he killed a couple people and dismembered them, and then like dispersed those real body parts with marionette body parts and send the horses down the fucking street. And so I don't know, and I in that little thing there, in that little tableau, there was only one person on several horses or something. So that made me think that certain of the horses were horseless, leading me to believe that some of the horses were given names. But no, you're right. It's probably the fucking horseman on the fucking horses. I stand corrected. Danny Lang, you're such a wordsmith. You're
I'm
totally
so
right,
sorry.
though. Yeah. So we got poppers, we have resilience. And so, like,
Wow.
is there anything else about the queer experience that like non-queer people should know, and all are these things important to comedy? Are pop, I guess this is the bigger question, instead of naming the rest of the people on horses, are resilience and poppers important to a comedian?
Oh my God. Resilience for sure. Yeah, I would say just because sometimes it can really not go your way.
Yeah.
And you just gotta get back on that horse, so to speak.
And so yeah, so
Um,
in getting on the horse, you can use poppers or what? Like, what do you tell yourself? You're like, I'm learning from this, even though that was a shit experience. I'll laugh about it later, even if nobody in the audience will. Like, I just have to, like, it's kind of reps. It's like almost playing numbers. It's a numbers game in
mhm.
dating or whatever. You're like, well, it only takes one person to say yes. So I'm going to keep asking people out, even though the last 90 people said no.
Yes.
Is that kind of it? Is like, I have to, this audience sucked.
Hmm.
Or I was not a good fit for the audience at this time because I had COVID or whatever. Like I will find another audience, or I'll find a different joke for the same audience.
Yes. It's I'm trying to find the words to describe it. I am blanking a little bit, but like just if this show was a dud, like you'll get another good one down the line at some point. It's almost a little, I don't want to say it's like addiction, because that's probably a slippery slope.
Yeah,
But
you're just like that next tie. That next tie is really going to be
yeah,
like the first
the
tie.
next time it's gonna be great.
Yeah. And
And
so,
then
like, I mean, is it
sometimes it
almost a little
is.
is it a little delusion or no? Or how do you make sure that you have a good show coming down the line? Like, how are you choosing the shows that you're going to be on?
I would say I'm definitely delusional. I don't know if like every comedian is, but
Okay.
like I for sure am a little. Like I keep telling myself this is not related to comedy, but I keep telling myself that spring is right around the corner, even though it is January 7th.
It totally is, man. Your
Yeah.
COVID will cure right up, right?
Yeah, it's so close. We have no idea.
It's, I mean, how are you picking your shows? Like, how do you find audiences that deal with, tall, tan, beautiful people like you?
Yeah, I mean that not very many people can relate to someone as stunning as I
I
am, but
know it's difficult. It's intimidating.
I know, but like lo and behold, we get them. I do mostly just like bombard a bunch of like group chats with friends and be like, who is free to come to this show? And that will normally get me like 2 to 3 people to show up.
Really?
Sometimes it gets a lot, but
Really? What kind of group chats are you
yeah.
on? And how can other
Um,
comedians jump on those group chats?
it's mostly like friends of mine from college who are in the city of Chicago nowadays,
Okay.
and yeah, I'd say that's about it.
So did they know you as a comedian while you were in college?
Yeah, I
You've
did.
always been hilarious.
I've always just been super extremely funny. No, I did do stand up and improv and stuff in college as well.
Okay. And
Um,
and and like, did you learn anything from it? You didn't make. I just talked with Joe James, and he said there's a major. Like, he teaches at Columbia College. He said there's a major in comedy. You didn't major in comedy, did you?
I did not. I nearly went to Columbia College to do that.
Really?
Yeah, but
And you
then
decided what? Like, your parents are like, I'm not gonna fucking pay for that, bro. Not gonna pay for
I
that.
yeah, I did instead decide to go to the college that my mother worked at for
Okay.
tuition remission.
Oh, good. Well, that's cool, because I
Yes.
mean, if you don't have as much debt, it's easier
Y-
to kind of spend your life just rocking the shows. I
Yes,
mean, you
turns
don't
out
even you
that
don't
is a
even need a
big
day
thing.
job. You don't need a day job. Your comedy is so it's just so professional and profitable. Yeah, you don't need a day
Yeah,
job, right?
yeah, so much wish that were the case.
Okay.
I do work at a gym currently,
Well,
but
that's, I
it's
mean, you just
fine.
said it's tall, beautiful, and tan. They probably have tanning
Hey,
facilities there, right?
exactly. I'm just there for eye candy for the patrons, you know.
I can't even ring them up. They just look at me
Hmm.
because I'm beautiful.
They're like, wow, I gotta get on his level.
Well, I love that. Well, I really hope that you're bringing queerness to Columbia, because Columbus, I just don't know that they're at Chicago's par. But I mean, you're going to have some horses, and maybe there's going to be people on those horses, and there at least two of
Hmm.
them will be named, and those names are Resilience and Poppers, right?
Resilience and poppers, correct.
Dude,
Yeah.
you got to get all the funny stuff like that, because when Danny Lang is well, we're gonna see all the funny stuff. It's gonna be I am Danny Lang on Twitter and Instagram. Danny Lang, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.